What's going on, everybody? Welcome back here to the OT Show on this special edition with real conversations, creative, real impacting. And tonight we have a powerful guest joining us, someone who worked and continue to transform lives and strengthen communities through leadership, advocacy, and service. Our guests bring more of a decade of experience in behavior health, community engagement, and mental health advocate. And y'all know OT feels about that life about mental health. And raised in North Philly and drive by living in Spain. And he has dedicated his career to ensure individuals and families impacted by mental health receive the support and resources and opportunity that they deserve. From leadership roles, serving the youth, community, to advocate wellness. And his mission has always been centered around empowering the people and creating meaningful changes. So, hey, he's a license. And when I say license, I mean license. You know, all that stuff going on. He's licensed, behavior specialist, and educator. And let me go ahead and get this man his flowers right here. You know, the doctoral candidate. I want to say it to you again. He's licensed, and the man's about to be a doctor and his passion for voice for mental health. Tonight, I'm honored to have the CEO. His name is Philadelphia, Mr. Kyle Carter, joining your boy OT here on the show. Yes, sir, Mr. Kyle. How you feeling? How you feeling? How you
I
feeling
am
today,
well.
man?
I am well. I heard that shade of Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I'm like, okay. He said license.
License, because you know, a lot of times, and I'm just gonna be real. You know, it's not even like even throwing no shade and stuff like that, but it's just letting people know that we have people on here. I'm only bringing people on here that do this, right? And when you talk about license, there's a lot of things that go in between that, right? Because when you talk about mental health, you just don't want to be the homeboy. It's just like, oh yeah, bro, I'm a doctor. Hey, listen, man, you know this didn't happen, but you can do this. No, it's different. It's different. It's different.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of things that you have to do, a lot of steps that you have to take, because it's not only you doing it, but you're dealing with other people's lives. But you know, we're here. We're
We
here.
here. We
We're
here.
here. We're here.
Thank you
We're
so
here.
much. Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here this evening.
Oh man. Hey, listen, the pleasure is mine. But without you, there will be me. You know, when I first got your stuff, I was like, listen, man, we gotta have you on. You know, I mean, it's definitely still mental health month. You know, when we talk about mental health, man, it's something that needs here in the community. It's something that needs to be even more relevant in the community. So for you to come on, hey, it's an honor for me. You know what I mean? It's definitely an honor for me. You know. So
Far too kind. Far too kind.
hey, listen, man. When you're doing it for the community, bro, hey, listen, you gotta do it. And you see this face, you see y'all face, y'all see this man right here, black man. Okay, so listen, he understands. All right. So let's just dive right into it, man. You know what I mean? For those that don't even know who this great man is that we giving flowers to, that's helping in the community in all the positive ways. Who are
Who am I? So my name is Kyle Carter. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of NAMI Philadelphia. I've been in the role for about 3 years, a little over 3 years.
you?
Previous to this, I served in leadership for DBHIDS, the city organization, helping lead some of their work around trauma, equity, and community. Previous to that, I've been everything from a clinician to a professor of psychology to a director of intellectual disability services with youth. So kind of ran the gamut of a lot of things in the behavioral health space. But if I had to narrow it down to who am I, servant leader. That is
Mm,
who I am at my core. So whether it's serving community, whether it's serving my staff, I'm a servant leader at my core.
man, hey, blessings. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
Thank you.
now let's talk about because we grew up in the area, right? You know, I went to school in the area. So growing up in North Philly, right? What helped you shape your journey and what life lessons from the community still guide you today?
My mother helped guide me. Unfortunately, she passed in 2009. But I had an amazing 25 years of the most amazing mother, the most amazing parent, the most amazing steward. And she made sure I followed the right path. She was an educator. A lot of things that I do now, she laid the groundwork for me, working with
Mhm.
youth and developing relationships and educating in a different way. And obviously, I do in a different way now. So she's the reason why I was able to kind of stay the path that I'm on and, keep me out of trouble and all those good things. So some of the stories that and the trials and travails that you may hear of folks that grew up in North Philly, I was able to avoid. I was able to have a good life, a safe life, able to go to school, all those good things. And here I am. So very, very blessed.
Well, hey man, yes sir, yes sir. Well, first condolences to you. Especially when losing a mom, I know how that feel. You know what I mean. But let's talk about that just a little bit, right? Because she shaped you into doing the things that you are doing now.
Yeah,
How is it to those who are watching and those who are going to be listening? How is it? How important is it for people to understand grief and seek? I mean, seek it because a lot of people still dealing with it. Who seeking it? A therapist to help them go through this grief because you went through it, and
I
you
did.
being a therapist, you know what I mean. How was it? And dig what I'm saying? How did you understand it? How did you, because grieving is something different.
Absolutely.
Grieving is something different.
Very much so. So one of the reasons why I'm even in the space that I'm in now is because my mother suffered from clinical depression when I was around 11 or 12. So that helped guide me in this direction of eventually working with youth and then eventually working in the behavioral health field. So that kind of pushed me in this direction. Um, but whew, that's a heavy question when I think about grief. Grief is not linear. So there are going to be periods in which you feel fine. There's some Mother's Days where I'm great. And then there's some Mother's Days where it's tough. And I have to take a second. But I have to also be grateful for the time that I did have. But again, I have a close friend of mine, unfortunately, that also went through the loss of his mother recently. And we have those real conversations about how grief can impact you. And I think it's a fallacy to think that, one day you'll just get over it. It took me years to be able to even go through my mother's belongings. And when I did do that, it was cathartic. It was a deep experience. I cried like a baby, and I don't have no problem saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that was, it took me several years. But once I was able to get past that, it was like a weight lifted off of me, emotionally, mentally, physically. And it's kind of helped power me into the person I am today.
Mm-hmm. Because I'll tell you what, man. Yeah, that's something, dude. Because it took me 3 years, and I don't even think people even like my dad probably didn't even know it took me 3 years just to go upstairs to the house. 3 years, you know what I mean, and that's something. That's something when you talk about grief. But woo, okay.
Getting
So
heavy.
yeah, man. It's getting heavy. It's getting heavy. But let's talk about what you've been doing. Because you said your work is filled by the living experience. Can you share how some of your personal journeys influence your passion for the mental health advocacy?
Well, like I mentioned, I think the biggest driving force was the experience with my mother, and seeing her navigate through that space as a 12-year-old, seeing this person that was incredibly powerful, and that was my everything, struggle and have to go through therapy and have to go through the medical assistance and all those different things and kind of get her through things. So watching that made me realize that it could happen to anyone. So as I navigated through school and navigated through life and eventually, finished my master's and all that, and then finally decided to pursue this path, I was like, you know what, there's only one path for me. And that's as a helper, as a servant leader, um, and ultimately in the behavioral health space. So, eventually, navigating through and a bunch of different roles led me to where I am right now with NAMI as the Chief Executive Officer of NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness, largest grassroots nonprofit organization in the country. We have
Mhm.
600 affiliates, five in the area, about over 10 in the state. And our work is really around removing the stigma around mental health, which is obviously fairly prevalent this month and is always prevalent, but especially this month as we acknowledge, mental health at a high level. Um, we were actually blessed last week to actually receive a resolution at City Hall for our work.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Council Member Nina Ahmad. So it's amazing to have the work recognized, but I want to be clear, it is not about me. It's about my phenomenal staff, my
Sir.
wonderful board, and the community members that are mission aligned and passionate about what we do.
And I love you said something that means great deal to me. Mission and line, right? Because when you bring a team on and you have a staff, their mission has to be in line of what you're doing. What does that leadership means to you when you talk about the mission and line?
So mission alignment just means that every day when you wake up and you go to sit in front of your computer or you go to, go in the community, whatever work you have to do, you have to remember why you do it and who you're doing it for.
Yeah.
But you also have to realize that the work will be here when you're gone. So you also have to practice balance and boundaries for yourself. That's the best way you can show up for yourself, the people that you serve, and your family. So that's something, we're working with folks with lived experience, including myself. And my team will tell you, culture-wise is incredibly important. Balance and boundaries, because you can't help others if you're pouring from an empty cup.
Mm, mm. Let's talk deep about that right there because a lot of times people, a lot of times when you are in therapy, right? And my therapist talk about that a lot, like boundaries, right? How to balance that because you're helping someone, and at the same time you have to understand that. How do you balance that? Not only on a leadership level, but even on a clinical level. How do you balance that?
With intentionality and strategy, but also prayer. That you know, and that's my honest answer. Um,
Yes, sir.
I think, anybody that's going to walk in here and tell you that they've mastered that process of balance and boundaries, especially as a leader of an organization, God bless them. I ain't there yet. So, what I try to do is be intentional with practicing the things that I preach myself, not working after a certain time, not accepting calls before a certain time, um, and holding my staff accountable for the same thing as they will tell you I do. It
Right.
is, it is, it is, it's with all the love in the world. But don't text me at 6 and 7 o'clock at night, and I won't do that to you. That's because I want you to have a life outside this work. This work is going to be here when we're gone, and I
Yeah.
say that all the time. We are not bigger than the movement. We are not bigger than the program. So
Mhm.
this work is going to the need to serve these people will be here when we're gone. So we do the best we can while we can.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit because you said something very, prevalent. You know, um, how do we create like a strong support system in the community that have historical lack of access to mental health resources?
Mm. Well, that is a loaded question, but I will answer that as best I can.
Yes, sir.
How can we best create
Okay, Mr. Cowherd went off just for a second, y'all. But yeah, we're going to bring him on back. He's going to come back. Yeah, because we're talking about mental health here, and him being the CEO of one of the prevalence, up in Philadelphia, man. We love him for that and the things that he's doing. So we just wait and remember, y'all, it's a storm going on, so everything is lacking. But at the same time, we're going to continue on with the show and everything with Mr. Cow. So he should be coming back on in a few. But yeah, so we're going to definitely dive deep into the system. We're going to dive deep into the access level. We're going to dive deep into how there's still a stigma of, especially in our community, that going to go see a therapist is frowned upon, right? And which one thing that I do want to do is make sure that that we do continue on doing the things that we are doing. So we're going to try to bring you back on. I think he's back on, if I'm not mistaken. Is he here? No, he's still not on. But yeah, but we definitely going to have him come back on to try to talk a little bit more about it because he got off in the system. And hey, this is real life, live and direct, y'all. No edit, no nothing. But yeah, but when we talk about mental health, how much mental health is important in our community is very much important. Because the things that we are seeing, the things that are going on, and I will always tell people, hey, make sure you seek mental health. So, we're about to add him back onto the stage because he's here. We're about to add him back. And what's going on, Mr. Kyle? You had went
Woo!
away for a minute. You went
I
away for a
know.
minute.
I don't know what
Well,
happened. I don't know what happened, but we back at it. We're gonna keep this conversation flowing. Thank you for your
Yes, sir.
patience.
Oh yeah, for sure. So, like I was talking about, you know, how can we build a strong support system in a community? That's one question, because it was a
Mhm.
loaded question. So that's one
Mhm.
question. And
Okay.
then, going to being like the lack of access to mental health resources. How can we, bridge that gap?
So both the answer to both is education. Education is the answer to everything. So a lot of my work now, and my work that I even did with DBH, and I had a phenomenal. I'm gonna shout out Katrina Pratt Roebuck, who is the best boss and now executive coach that anybody could ever have. Check out Uplift Me. That's UPLIF Me, a phenomenal resource hub for
Yes,
community
sir.
resources. You want to know a place to go to create community and understand the resources available? Uplift Me is a phenomenal space to go that will give you all the resources you need when it comes to community resources. But again, education is the key to all of this. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. Because
Yeah,
you gonna get me to preaching in here. We'll be here till
man,
about 8:39.
listen. I don't have a problem with that because guess what? It's educational. It's education, and we are giving the community what they need to hear because you don't hear it a lot on national TV. You don't hear it a lot on prevalent podcasts and stuff like that. So for me, the people got to hear it. What are some of the misconceptions that people have about mental illness?
Uh, that you are weak if you acknowledge it. You hear the tired tropes, and we'll say especially with men, and then we'll say especially with black and brown men. You're soft, you're weak if you acknowledge it. Stop crying, you'll be okay. And those are a lot of the tired tropes that are associated with that, and those things are not real. It takes so much strength to acknowledge when you are not feeling okay. And it is okay to not feel okay. There's so much strength. And I've been there myself. There are some days where I need to pull myself up. Be like, woo, this a day.
Right.
But it is nothing wrong with feeling all the feelings and feeling all the emotions. But one of the most sad misconceptions is that you're weak or you're soft or anything like that when you acknowledge that your mental health doesn't exist and maybe the cup is a little empty that day and you need somebody to help fill it back up.
Well, listen, man. Yeah, because a lot of times, especially in our neighborhoods, in our community, you know, uh, it's frowned upon for men to show their feelings, right? Because we've been saying that, hey, hold it because people will, use that against you. But now I'm at the age where, dude, I don't even care, bro. Like, come on, dude.
Basically,
You know what
basically.
I mean? Like, bro, I don't even care. Like, because a lot of stress, because stress kills us. A lot of stress is lifted off you when you're going through these kind of things. And then when that care come off, it's like, whoa, what happened? Then you wonder why you've been having a bad headache. Wonder why your back hurt, your shoulder hurt, and all these
Yep.
things.
And you can't sleep and all those things. And we're in a dangerous space. We're in an age of information. And
Mm-hmm.
we're in the age of social media. I guess social media guides so much. And with that being said, a lot of that guides a lot of opinions about others and about how we feel about ourselves. So if you're not strong enough, and I'm 40 plus, so I feel like once you hit that magic 40, you stop caring.
Yeah.
And that is a blessing. But
Yes, sir.
unfortunately, many of our community members age are not in that space and they're easily influenced by things. So we have to be very, very careful of our input, what we allow into our ears and our hearts and our souls, so that we're not influenced in a way that's adverse to our circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. So now let's talk about family, right? Because a lot of times, family members, we all get together, right? And you never know when someone is feeling some kind of way because things get hidden, right? What signs should families pay attention when they see a loved one or they might see someone maybe struggling with emotional and mental?
Being withdrawn, so
Mm,
like those mood shifts, highs and lows when it comes to personality shifts, not eating, um, those are the major ones. So some of the temperament changes, the sleeping changes, um, those are some ones that you see a lot of those, and we saw a lot of those around COVID time because we were
Hmm.
so much isolation,
Yeah.
that people, saw that social communicative stuff, which is gone. So people had to figure out how to cope, and a lot of them coped in really negative ways. So as we look kind of post COVID, if we're actually still there, we've seen a lot of that in our youth, where a lot of them are so struggling to reconnect with their peers. So you'll
Hmm.
see a lot of them struggling with that, and that's why they'll turn to social media and things like that to kind of placate while they try to figure it out. But yeah, so some of those ways that you'll see is somebody that's withdrawn, highs and lows when it comes to temperament and maybe eating changes and things like that.
So when we talk about that, right, and especially when you talk about family and maybe friends, right, how can people, especially loved ones, support somebody without judging?
That's a phenomenal question, and also very difficult for a lot of people because it's hard, especially when you're emotionally attached and it's a family member and someone that you care about. You want them to get through it. Come on now, let's get up. Let's start. Come on, stop feeling like this. And that's not reality. You have to allow people to walk their own walk. So the easiest thing, I would say, is talk to them, not at them, and listen to understand and not to respond.
Mm, mm. Break that down a little bit for those who don't really understand that part of what you said. You know what I mean? Listen, no respond. Listen.
Because a lot of people, when they're emotionally attached, or you'll see it in a lot of in arguments. Everybody's talking and nobody's listening to what the other person is saying, and they're just listening so that they can respond to the first thing that the person says, so they can quote unquote win. But in a situation in which somebody is, having some degree of mental health challenge, the win that you're trying to get is that they feel better and that they feel whole. So it's not an argument that you're trying to win per se. So in that case, you're really just trying to listen to them to understand what they're saying, how they're feeling, and kind of turning off that sometimes real heavy desire to want to just respond quickly, like, no, 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 but you can do this. But no, just listen. And it's hard, but it's necessary.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's very hard because I can say for myself, it's very hard sometimes for me. Like, I mean, it's human nature, right? And like you said, sometimes we go into a defense mode when we really shouldn't even be going into a defense mode, right?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So recognizing that actually shaped and changed my outlook of a lot of things, because accountability is one thing. And a lot of time we don't take accountable for the things that we do. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we have to do today is accepting that accountability. Definitely something that.
Absolutely. And it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard in a world where sometimes people will just say, "Oh, it's okay if you do that. That's what you're supposed to do."
Yeah.
Oh, it's fine. It's okay. No, it's okay for you to take accountability and responsibility for what information you're getting, the choices that you make. That is what being an adult is. Man, woman, etc. It's not gender, you know,
Yeah.
specific. And again, it takes time to get to that space, but it is necessary.
Let's talk a little bit about the education part, bro. Because you going into the doctorates and you have earned your business law, right? And now you are pursuing your doctorates. What keeps you pushing, man, to continue on learning?
Well, listen, I'm a man of transparency, so I'm not about to sit here and lie on this thing that I've been ABD for longer than I'd like to acknowledge. So that's all but dissertation. So I've been at the finish line of this doctorate for a little bit now. However, I need to hop back on it and finish it off. But I've had the blessing of helping a friend of mine finish her doctorate by serving as the chair of her dissertation committee. So have kind of lived through her journey.
Right.
But I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish. It is on my bucket list. But I've been blessed to be able to transition to these very increasing leadership roles. So when you do that, you have to kind of, all right, what can I prioritize? Do I got to
Yeah.
go all in with the doctorate, or do I have to, ensure that I am being the best possible leader that I can be? So I've obviously made the decision to really focus on the leadership piece. But education is paramount. And it's
Mhm.
something that's very important to me, and finishing this journey for me in the doctoral space is important. So it's coming up. It's coming up. I'll keep
Yeah,
you.
it
I'll,
is.
I'll keep you updated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you said something leadership and keeping it balanced. Explain. leadership and how you take leadership on your part because you're dealing with a whole lot.
Culture setting and servant leadership, setting the culture for what expectations should be at all levels, ensuring that folks are, accountable for the work that they're supposed to put out, but also making sure that they take care of themselves. And my staff will tell you, I am even more aggressive on the taking care of yourself part. Because again, as I said, and I say it again, the work will be here when we are gone. So take care of yourself while you are doing it. So those things are the, kind of my grounding principle of the servant leadership. What can I do to ensure that your job is as easy as possible?
Mm-hmm.
That is, I'm not married to a title. We rent these titles. I'm not
Mm.
pressed about the CEO role. All we do is rent them. Somebody else will sit in this seat one day. I have no visions of grandeur that I will own this for the rest of my life. So I'm gonna do the best I can while I sit in this seat and serve the folks as best I can.
There it is. So, can you talk a little bit about because May 15th y'all had a whole big conference, man. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about that, and those who have missed it, me, I'm me because I went golfing. So my apology, went golfing.
It's okay.
Me.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Accountability.
Yes, sir.
Accountability. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes, sir. So, what what were some of the things that those who have did not go? What's some of the things that they missed, and what's some of the things that you have there that was prevalent today for the community?
So the HEAL conference, and I want to shout out my senior director of community relations, Amy Federer, for coming up with an amazing title. We were sitting around trying to figure out a title, and then all of a sudden she said HEAL,
Mm.
health, equity, advocacy, learning. And it brought everything together, everything that we were looking to do in a conference. So this was our inaugural conference that took place on May 15th at Friends Hospital. Shout out to Friends Hospital for just being phenomenal partners. It was from 9 to 2. It was a collection of just thought leadership, networking, just all the good things. So we had, the amazing Patty Jackson gave us a master class in leadership and 30 plus years of just an amazing run in media. How did she do it? What are some of the trials and travails that she did while concurrently continuing her career? And she had us all in there crying. It was amazing. It just showed how amazing, and the hope is to bring her back for a part two because there's so much more that we could get through. But that began. We had the amazing council member Nina Ahmad came out and gave a stirring speech to the crowd about the importance of engaging in the political space. As we just on Tuesday, of course, hopefully everybody exercised their right to vote, all that good stuff. And then we had phenomenal panels ranging in from advocacy and the power of community engagement. We had panels talking about how best to engage when you're a nonprofit with the government, local government, things of that nature. We had a leadership conversation by Trapita Mason, CEO of Comar. We just had a range of wonderful, wonderful conversations from community members to nonprofit members to government members and everybody in between. It was a phenomenal day. And one other thing you missed was a delicious hot lunch. Shout out
Mm.
to Miss Dawn's Catering. Came through with the baked chicken, the fried chicken, the mac and cheese, the yellow
Yes,
rice, the
sir.
string beans, and everything. So, you were fed intellectually, and you were fed the other way too. So everybody left out there with a smile on their face.
Man, and here I am out there playing freaking golf. I done missed the whole four-course meal with some education on top of it. Mentally, here it is. But so let me ask you a question. How can we bridge the gap with the community and mental health? How can we bridge that gap, man? Because it's a big gap. It's a big gap, and it's getting smaller. And I got to shout out our young folks because
Mhm.
they brought it to the forefront.
Mhm.
Now we might say a whole lot of stuff about them being on social media and stuff, but they brought that part to the forefront. And so, how can we bridge that gap and make it smaller, right?
Mhm.
With the community and with mental health.
Well, I think that the children are our future, as they said in that song a long time ago. But I mean, education kind of being the backdrop, but the youth and what they've done via social media, as you referenced, is they made mental health and the understanding of it kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
trendy, viral, as they say. So we are acknowledging that it exists. And there are still a lot of trials and tribulations that folks, and we've seen a lot of unfortunate things and coping mechanisms that aren't healthy and all that thing. But at least it is a bit deeper of a conversation. So what can we do to continue to broaden out the conversation? Continue removing the stigma. Hopefully, there's a lots of work by wonderful organizations. I'm gonna shout out Black Men Heal for their work in the community of offering free therapy sessions for our community members, the work that NAMI does, the work that Kumar does. So just keeping yourself educated about what is going on with the community. Our DBHIDS, our city leader in behavioral health, if you go to dbhids.org, so many resources, so many resources. Take responsibility for educating yourself. Do not wait for someone else to do it for you.
All right, now we got a thing on this show that we do fast questions, right?
All right.
All right, so this is our fun thing that we do, but it's real, right? All right, you ready?
Okay.
If you could sit down with your younger self, what advice would you give them?
Enjoy the journey.
Mm, mm, okay. What message do you want someone that's struggling with mental health challenge to hear tonight?
It's okay not to feel okay.
Where can people and how can people and our love of the people understand? Well, this is really not a question. It's just me just going right now because I feel some kind of way right now. Understand that mental health and seeking therapy is okay. What can you say to those people?
Education is paramount. And don't ignore the feelings. Don't ignore the feeling tired. Don't ignore the mood changes. It's real. You can't outrun it. No matter what you may think, you cannot outrun it. So just address it. There are people out here that are skilled, that care, that are empathetic, that will help you. NAMI Philly is one of them, but
Yes,
there
it
are
is.
others. But if you want to start somewhere, NAMIPHILLY.org. Go to our website, go to our contact us, and we will reach out to you. We care, we want to help.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And one other thing, because a lot of things that is especially when the working force, right? Because with insurances and stuff like that, and how this works, uh, a lot of people say it's hard to find therapists that looks like us,
Mhm.
right? What do you say about that?
I think that I understand the desire to always want to connect with someone that looks like you or that you have something in common with. My response to that is you want to make sure you connect with a person, no matter what the race, gender, or otherwise, that can best connect with you and best get you where you need to be mentally and clinically. So I would say ensure that that is like your high level, macro level goal of making sure that you have the right connection no matter what. Now, if they happen to be the same race as you, more power to it. But make sure that you are making sure that clinically and therapeutically you are trying to connect with someone. All the other stuff is secondary.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I try to tell people that, but people don't want to listen to me. So now, guess what? You didn't already said it. God bless it. Right there. I always tell people that. I always tell people that. Well, listen, man. I definitely appreciate you joining us here on the show. I appreciate you. You have to come back on, even if there's nothing really going on, just to talk about mental health and how important it is. And I would love to. I'm actually trying to do like a whole big old panel this summer. So I'm trying to put some stuff together. So I'll be reaching out to your publicist because I do everything by protocol. I'll reach out to your publicist. You know what I
It's all
mean?
good. It's all
Yes,
good.
sir.
It's all
Yes,
good.
sir.
And again, if I could just leave with one thing, we have an event coming up
Yes, sir.
on June 13th at the Free Library downtown. Norman. It is going to be a phenomenal film showing and then Q&A hosted by Patty Jackson. It's a wonderful story of a gentleman's trial and tribulation as he navigated his own mental health battle. So we're going to have, great conversation, great engagement, and hopefully some education that everybody can leave home with something with. Okay. So please, June 13th, the Free Library Philadelphia. If you want more information, NAMI Philadelphia.org. Go on our website, or you can email me directly at kcarter@namiphilly.org.
All right, all right. Now hold up. When you say the free library, because you know we got a whole lot of them. The main library.
The main free
Main
library.
library.
Damn, that's why I said downtown.
Downtown. Well, listen, man. You know what? I'm gonna mark that on my calendar. You know what I mean? For we can, hey, definitely be there and support. Definitely be there and support. Hey, man. Once again, I appreciate you joining us here on the show, man. It's always a blessing. Thank you off air. We talk. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Because the boy got, you already know, got a little emotional. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, man. But I appreciate you so much, man. And you always welcome to come back. Welcome to the family. Like I always say to everybody, your family now. So when you're part of the family, when you post something, it's good, send it to us. We'll repost it. That's what we do because we're family.
Same here. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Congratulations on that graduation.
Yes,
We
sir.
spoke about. And thank you for giving a platform for conversations like that. This is incredibly important. You are giving a lot to this community. So clap for you as well, brother.
Oh man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right, man. Well, listen, man. Enjoy the rest of this day. It's rainy. You know what I mean? But they said it's supposed to rain like 7 days straight, or something like that.
Yeah, I know. It's like, feels a little
Yeah,
biblical.
same thing. I said, cleansing is coming. I said, cleansing is coming. But listen, man, I appreciate you, man. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. Have a great weekend, man. And keep doing the things that you're doing, man, because we appreciate you in the community doing all the
Thank you.
great work that you're doing, man.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
And
God bless. Thank you so
yes,
much. Have a
sir.
wonderful night, everyone.
You too. And like OT always says, if someone asks you how you're doing, you always tell them that you're doing better than yesterday. And remember, your voice, your purpose, and your mission matters here on the OT show. All right, everybody. Peace, blessings, and enjoy your weekend. All right.